Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast and are not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, anyone, or anything. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to A Little Bit Culty. This is our second Thursday bonus drop. You may have noticed last week was a two-parter with the brave, wise, and wonderful Amanda Ray Grant. And now we have a much-anticipated listener voicemail.
It's much anticipated.
The excitement is palpable.
That was a question and a statement.
It really is. But, well, we decided that we wanted to offer more content, and we didn't want you to have to wait to the following Monday when we had a two-parter. So we'll be using the bonus Thursdays for Ask Me Anythings, listener voicemail, and some very special guests that we've had on in the past. So stay tuned here on Thursdays on A Little Bit Culty. In today's bonus episode...
Well, we're trying to get a little bit more current-ish.
Yes.
We're flirting with the current-ish thing. Per request.
Per request.
People have slid into our DMs and requested that we get a little bit more current.
Because the thing is, we've been covering this in our bonus drops over on Patreon, but then the rest of our audience doesn't get to hear what's happening in the Cultiverse.
They're like WTF, aren't they, Sarah?
They really were. They said, what is happening in the Cultiverse? We don't know how to find out. So here we are.
Hold my kombucha.
We're bringing it to you hot. Bringing the headlines to you, and today we're diving into 3 major trials: Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking case, OneTaste legal battle, and Harvey Weinstein's retrial. These stories hit close to home for us, and we're also excited to share those listener voicemails later in the episode. Nippy, what's striking you about all of this?
Striking me. An interesting word. The cases are heavy, of course. Dare I say controversial, and they're shining a light on the kind of coercion and abuse that we've been talking about since NXIVM and that we were peripheral to and victim to, right? So let's start with Diddy. His trial began May 5th in New York, and the allegations are gross, right?
Yeah.
Prosecutors say he forced women into freak-off parties using drugs and recorded videos to blackmail them into compliance. We saw some videos that surfaced last year where he was hitting the woman in the hallway. I think that was Cassie Ventura. She had a testimony about years of abuse backed by the 2016 assault video, which is the one we saw. And cue the people to say, why didn't you leave, right?
Well, we hope that those listeners who've been following our podcast for a while understand why she didn't. And Cassie, we support you, and we are watching with bated breath. And when I heard about those blackmail videos, it took me right back to NXIVM's collateral in DOS, using personal secrets to trap people. And that's coercive control at its core.
Why didn't she leave? Answer that question. I think that's
why didn't I leave?
No, when people say, why didn't she leave? Mostly male people going, if it was so bad, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? What's the coercion?
I can understand. I don't know all of her story yet, but from what I understand, he has blackmail on her, as he does with many of the other people who are in his orbit, attending his parties. He filmed everything. He has information about people that they don't want out, and that's what keeps them dependent, among other things that would normally be...
The promise of success.
Yeah, but in any other domestic violence situation.
She's dependent on him.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the feds are charging him with racketeering, forced labor, even kidnapping. Diddy's team is trying to downplay it just as domestic issues, so they're minimizing the abuse. Sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like a system of control that you're describing, not a one-off.
Definitely not.
He rejected a plea deal. So, I mean, Agnifilo is probably loving this.
Who's Agnifilo? Who's Agnifilo, Nippy?
Mark Agnifilo, Keith Raniere's attorney.
Wait, are you saying that Keith Raniere's attorney also is P. Diddy's attorney?
Yes. I guess he's getting used to racking up the L's with a big payday. So with Kathy's testimony and others stepping forward, this trial's a reckoning, hopefully. We were lucky. Hopefully the people, P. Diddy's a little bit more powerful than K Diddy or Vanguard.
K Diddy.
It's also a reminder how
Sorry,
power protects itself. We saw it in NXIVM, so.
It's true. And the enablers around Diddy, Hollywood's silence, has kept this going for years, just like NXIVM's Inner Circle. So lots of parallels there. Let's move on to OneTaste, the orgasmic meditation group.
Name.
I know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
So gross.
By the way, we are working on an episode about it. We have one coming up that will drop probably in a month from now. A lot of people who want to talk to us about it are involved in the trial and the civil suit, so we're going to be talking to a reporter. But the 2025 trial is exposing allegations of emotional manipulation and unpaid labor. Former members are testifying about how founder Nicole Dodone used psychological tactics to keep them dependent. Very familiar.
Yeah, it's NXIVM with a different wrapper. OneTaste promised empowerment through wellness, the way NXIVM promised through goals.
And specifically, not just wellness, but orgasmic meditation.
Orgasmic wellness.
Yeah. It's a very specific type of wellness.
It's a niche market.
Yep.
It's a classic cult tactic. Replace your identity with the groups. Even after shutting it down in the U.S. in 2018, they're still operating globally, which shows how these systems dodge accountability. But survivors are speaking out. That's normally what takes them down, and that's where the power shifts.
Exactly. Classic thought reform, breaking people down to control them, just like with NXIVM. But the OneTaste whistleblowers are doing what we did, reclaiming their voices to expose the truth. It's just frustrating, though, how this case gets less attention than Diddy's, even though the harm is just as real.
Well, I think Diddy's a higher profile person.
It's just less salacious, I guess.
And Diddy's clientele are really, really famous people. So yeah, it's flying under the radar, but no less serious. Let's go into the Weinstein retrial, which I can't believe are words that I'm saying. His 2022 rape conviction was overturned in 24, and as of April of this year, he's back in court with testimony from forensic psychologist Don Hughes. This is a #MeToo flashpoint happening right alongside Diddy's trial in Manhattan. It's like it's all in New York right now. Weinstein's alleged abuse of power isn't a cult, but it's cut from the same cloth of coercion.
100%. Weinstein used his Hollywood influence to intimidate and silence women for years, using his status to manipulate everyone. The retrial is forcing survivors to relive their trauma, which is so tough, and that is really shaking the system. But it's a reminder that coercive control thrives on power imbalances, whether it's in a music empire, a wellness group, or a movie studio.
Yeah, these cases, Diddy's blackmail, OneTaste, Weinstein's intimidation, are just more examples of how coercion works. And the story to me are the survivors. I think people need to shine a light on Cassie, OneTaste whistleblowers, and Weinstein's accusers, because those are the ones that are going to be able to make the shifts, believing them and what happened to them. And hopefully that's where the zeitgeist is going. I hate that word zeitgeist, but
I love the word zeitgeist.
I mean, it's cool to say, but it's kind of overused.
Well, all of this stuff is in the zeitgeist right now. Zeitgeist. But we are hoping to get into more of this as we find out more about these trials. We just want to give you a little update. This is happening right now, so it's kind of an important moment in history. So we're going to switch gears and...
That was our first kind of current events.
That's our goal here with the Thursday bonus drops when they come, when we don't have a two-parter. We'll try to capture what's happening in the cultiverse.
Slide into our DMs with more suggestions.
Yeah, we're up for whatever. We just want to be more up to date with what's happening.
You're so flexible.
I'm so just go with the flow.
I know. Pass the kombucha.
You going to give me my green sash?
All right. Let's get to the voicemails.
Oh, just a quick note.
Here we go.
Little housekeeping. Little Bit Culty is still ad-free over on Patreon. There will be different bonus content now that we're doing the bonus drop here. There's going to be a monthly live Q&A. You can always join us there for the uninterrupted episodes. And the Inner Circle, yes, that's tongue-in-cheek. We know it's a little bit culty. It's supposed to be a joke. But those people get a signed copy
#not funny.
of the book, my memoir, the first book, and a hot pink fanny pack because, who doesn't need a little cult-busting swag. And our new book, which is coming out in the fall, is still and currently available for pre-order. Why is pre-ordering helpful, Nip?
Because it helps us pay for it, Sarah.
It covers the upfront costs, like copying.
I
love do that.
Was that for our audience?
I love do that.
Oh, I see what you did
Cover
there.
design.
I see what you did there. We're going to go on to our voicemails now. Thank you.
Thank you for supporting us.
Love everyone. Okay,
here we go. Here we go.
This podcast wouldn't exist without our fantastic, supportive, generous patrons. Come find us over on Patreon. We're at patreon.com/a little bit culty. Go there for bonus episodes, exclusive content, and the occasional Zoom with our fan favorites from our past episodes. Subscribe now and join us. That's patreon.com/a-little-bit-culty. And now, a brief message from our Little Bit Culty sponsors. Remember, when you support our sponsors, you support our podcast.
You've heard from our sponsors. Now let's get back to A Little Bit Culty, shall we?
This first voicemail is from Miriam from the Netherlands.
That is so cool.
Hi, Sarah and Nippy. This is Miriam from the Netherlands. First of all, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. Thanks so much for doing this. I know you're helping so many people. I have a request. I don't think you've done a show about Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, which is, of course, the cult where Mark Vicente was first affiliated with. And maybe there's legal reasons for you guys not featuring the show or the cult. And perhaps I've missed it. In that case, I'm sorry. But to use your expression, this cult really chaps my ass. And I would love for you guys to make a show about it. So perhaps it's possible. Anyway, keep up the good work and catch you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Ramtha is one we for sure want to do.
Why haven't we done it?
It hasn't really come across our radar, and she's not particularly as in the zeitgeist.
Well, it has
again.
come across our radar, but we just haven't had a guest to interview. I guess we could have Mark on about it. I wonder if Mark Vicente would talk about it.
Or I'm sure he knows someone that
is an ex-member.
It's an ex-member.
Who did we just read a book about that covered it? Oh, it was Leah Sotiles.
Yeah.
Leah Sotiles.
Yeah, Amy Carlson's.
Yes, the book about Amy Carlson, but she also talked about Ramtha, and this is all about spiritual enlightenment. I mean, let's ask Mark.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. Thank you, Miriam. And so glad we're reaching the Netherlands. That's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Love to hear that.
Thanks for calling in.
Next question is from Christy Maldonado out of Chicago.
Hey, Sarah and Nippy. This is Christy from Chicago. First, I just want to say that I really enjoy your podcast programming, and I'm a little behind, quite honestly, in terms of catching up to episodes in 2025. I'm still in the late 2022, early 2023 phase because I've only just found your podcast, so I'm methodically going through episode by episode, but I just want to say great content so far, and I'm really enjoying it. And so thank you very much for putting this content out there. One thing I wanted to ask you both, and it's possible that you've answered this question before, so if you have, maybe don't air this question, but in recently rewatching The Vow, I saw that Mark Vicente was talking about, if this thing had not happened with Doss and ultimately with Keith, that this organization could still be running, NXIVM could still be a thing, and that he may, in fact, still be a part of it. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, and so I don't mean to make statements on behalf of Mark, but it's just to say, it kind of begs the question, if none of this had happened, do you think that this is something that you would have still been involved with? And then conversely, now that you're out of it, do you actually think it's something that you needed in your life? I think just really crossed my mind. I would ask Mark the same question, but of course I don't have regular access to speaking with Mark. But I think for the two of you, it's a rather important question, and it may be very reflective in terms of, or allow you to reflect on your time there and whether or not you actually needed to be there at all, with all of that you have learned since leaving. So anyway, that's my question for you. Once again, big fan, huge supporter, and thank you so much for your great content. Bye.
That's a great question. You want to handle it, or
no,
do you want me to go?
You go.
I think because you and I had 1 foot in and 1 foot out, we were disgruntled as it was. We had a child. We were already producing something else. We were already starting to pursue things outside of the organization. I just think as things started to happen for us outside the organization, it didn't seem like that was in the future. However, I don't think we would have left if there wasn't tangible abuse that we had seen.
I almost want to caveat too by saying, we didn't really recognize how unhappy we were until after we left. It's not like we were sitting around going, we're so unhappy and we need an excuse. I was all in for life. Like Lauren and I talked about wearing matching tracksuits and hosting intensives in Florida when we were boobies. Like we had long-term goals within the company for sure. But when we saw what was really going on because of the branding and because we heard about, finding out about the harem essentially, then we were able to like actually see all the elements on the shelf that we've been putting on the shelf for so long. Did that answer that question?
Yeah, I think so. There's that chiropractic poster. You don't know how much pain you're in until it's gone. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that we'd have left per se because there wouldn't have been a distinct reason to, like we could have seen the abuse.
Was the question if
and
the brand...
would you have stayed if we didn't have this incident happen? And do you think you needed it? Number one, I don't think you needed it. I don't think I needed this at all.
There was a lot of things I really enjoyed of the 5-day, but
the questions needed it. I don't know. No, there's no way. Life happens to you. We would have gotten lessons in life regardless.
I don't know if I've made myself, like, part of the sunk cost fallacy of it is, like, finding all the valuable things I got out of it. I know that I felt great after the 5-day, and I was on fire in my life for years after with the tools, the good parts of the tools, I still hold on to that, but maybe I would have got those lessons elsewhere. I definitely didn't need it to do well. I've always been a happy person, but I thought that the tools really did help me at the time. Who knows? I don't know. That's not a very good answer.
Well, I don't know. Is a
we'll never know.
Decent answer, but I think
I probably would have done another workship or something. Who knows?
I mean, the way I got there, you weren't going to get me in another workshop.
That was the only way to get Nix and Nippy to join NXIVM.
The planets aligned to get me in. Anyway, I love that question. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question. And Mark Vicente, heavy episode so far. Yeah. Let's see if the next question involves Mark.
This next one is from Lucas Cooney out of California.
Hello, my name is Lucas. I live in a small Southern California town called Redlands, California. A good friend of mine over the last couple of years has really gotten into running, which sounds great. But in doing so, he's created this really large group of runners. And then his posts on Instagram and social media, it's all about how it's for him, or like it just seems weird. Everything's centered around him. And he's now lost a relationship. And since he's been in this runners group that he's started, he's had many flings with many women. His head is flipped. I just don't know how to confront him on this of it's one thing to be healthy. It's another thing to have at least 100 people a week going with you on a run and everything revolving around this group. I'm waiting for him to start offering workshops or something. Like he's becoming a cult leader, and I think he might be. Thanks.
I totally can picture this guy. I can picture his flock of runners.
He has long hair.
And he's very short shorts.
Does he have a man bun?
He for sure has a man bun.
Stubble beard.
And maybe one of those like packs.
Dog in a Jeep. He's a dog guy. Likes to go out and throw the tennis ball with his dog.
And that's where he picks up. Yeah. He picks up girls with their dogs and invites them to their running club.
And he has a shark tooth necklace.
Listen, Lucas, he totally has a shark tooth necklace and drinks like spirulina smoothies.
And wears those, all the actors in LA wear those like necklace beads around their wrists. You know those things? Yeah,
mala beads. Yeah. Maybe even a red, probably also has like one of those red Kabbalah strings.
He might even be a spiritual gangster on the side.
No, he's started his running club so that he can get his sponsorship from Spiritual Gangster. By the way, if Spiritual Gangster wanted to sponsor us, I would totally do it.
I wouldn't.
I know you wouldn't. I'm talking about me, because I'm the yogini. You're not.
Maybe you should go on a run with this guy.
Hey, what's this guy's name? I want to join his club. Oh, shit. No, I don't want to join another club. Oh, no, seriously, Lucas, I don't know if you're going to be able to help him. I don't know.
He's going to have to hit something hard before, like a wall.
Well, the thing is,
car.
My question for Lucas is like, how well do you know the guy? And is he your best friend or just a buddy? Because if it's your best friend, you could say something like...
You can grab him by the earlobe.
And be like, dude, what are you doing? What is this? And, I see you like running, but seems like it's going to your head a little bit.
It might be a midlife crisis too.
Yeah, but if you don't know him, like, you kind of just got to live and let live. I mean, you could try to reach some of the other people around him and give him some warnings, but I don't know. It's a tough one. You could sit down with him and say, hey, you want to watch The Vow with me and see if he figures it out?
Or you can just get in the car with him one day and play one of our episodes.
Yeah.
Tell him you know me. Say, this guy Nippy has a podcast.
That's gonna get this runner.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lucas. I feel for you, man. It's tough. But I think you're seeing all the signs, especially if he's banging all the runners. I mean...
Banging all the runners?
Yeah. Didn't he say that? He's banging some of the chicks?
Up with Sarah, when did you start talking like a frat boy?
You rubbed off on me.
Okay, that's good. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, what do we have next? Let's do a few more.
Thanks, Lucas.
For more context on what brought us here, check out my memoir. It's called Scarred, the true story of how I escaped NXIVM, the cult that bound my life. I narrate the audio version, and it's also available on Amazon, Audible, and at most bookstores. And now, a brief message from our Little Bit Culty sponsors. And remember, when you support our sponsors, you're supporting this podcast.
Break time's over, people. Let's get back to this episode of A Little Bit Culty. It's a good one. This next voicemail is from Alice Kostrich.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Nippy. This is Alice. I'm a longtime listener since, I think, 2020, maybe, since you started during COVID. The reason for my call is I listened to the Einstein call today, and super informative. I do, as a Democrat, I would like to point out that it's not just the Republicans that are culty, it's also the Democrats and their allegiance to the Democratic Party and not kicking out Biden and not putting up a viable candidate because they wanted to save face. So it's not just the Republicans that are culty. It is also the Democrats. I think it's both political parties. And I felt like I needed to share that. I'm 60, so been around the block a few times and love your show and you have great information, but sometimes it is a little slanted. And as a Democrat, I do need to point out it's not always.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Alice, we have these conversations
all the time
outside of our podcast because we know that our audience leans predominantly left, but for sure we see the left doing a lot of the stuff that the extreme right does as well.
There are extreme versions on all sides of the political alley, and all groups can become culty.
My commentary is when the right does it, it's blatantly obvious. When the left does it, it feels more covert and plausible deniability when they do it. So yeah, we totally agree, Alice. And one of our proudest moments in our podcast, I think in the same week, we were called Libtards and Trumpers. So we try to get it right down the middle.
We just try to present all the information so people can make informed choices.
And some people don't let you. But thank you, Alice. Yes, we totally agree.
One more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Let's more.
This last one is from Ruth.
Hey, love your podcast. Helped me get through COVID. Listen to you guys more regularly than anyone else. And I've called before to ask about whether I'm in a cult. I'm part of SGI, which it may be a cult. It's on the list. I'm forgetting the guy's name. You had a guest who has a list of cults, but it doesn't have a lot of bad news in it. And that's not the main reason I'm calling today. I think I just got kicked out of an improv troupe cult. I'm feeling really hurt and confused about why I was removed. I took some time off because I wasn't really sure it was working for me. And then I got a message saying everything worked better without me there. And all I can think is that I was accused of being difficult, that it was easier for things to happen without me. And I recognized that I was one of the few people that asked questions about some changes that were being made. Anyway, I know that's a long-winded way of saying thank you for helping me have insight about how things feel and when it feels wrong to be part of a group and when it feels right, and to just be alert and keep doing what you're doing. You're awesome. Thanks.
An improv group. That is, I'm so sorry that happened to you, first of all. That's very upsetting. Also, let's get you into a better improv group. Yeah. One that's not culty. And that sucks that you were asking questions and then they said it was easier without you.
Yeah, if you're asking questions and that's their response.
You don't want to be with them.
They did you a favor.
Yeah. But it just also reinforces what we were just talking about, that any group can become culty.
Well, also that said, I'm glad you were able to take the wisdom from our podcast and apply it to your life.
Yes, that makes me happy. And it reminds me, Nippy, we did not include the section about we tried to cover as many of our favorite guests as possible, but we didn't talk about the acting group that we covered in season 5, was it? About Michelle Lonsdale Smith.
Yeah.
So that reminds me, maybe we're on the final pass, by the way, of the book. And I don't want to rewrite it. I just want to insert. A year. We just have to cover the acting because the acting cults are rampant, and improv is not immune to such things. By the way, improv is hard. It's hard. I'm impressed by you to even do it at all. But I think that wraps it up for our first bonus Cultiverse extravaganza.
Let us know what you think.
And what you'd like to see more of or less of. Questions, voicemail.
Call in.
Special guests.
Say hey.
I think next week's going to be another double episode. And the week after that is going to be a playback from some very special guests from NXIVM that we interviewed in Vancouver last summer that we only released on Patreon. And we're going to share it here for you.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Look forward to it. Bye, guys.
Till next time.
Sinking down to the depths of the ocean. I'm hanging on to the weight of my love. If I let go of it all, I could leave, but I know I won't.
A Little Bit Culty is a Trace 120 production. Executive produced by Sarah Edmondson and Anthony Nippy Ames in collaboration with Amphibian Media. Our co-creator is Jess Temple-Tardy. Audio engineering by Red Cayman Studios, and our writing and research is done by Emma Deal and Kristen Reeder. Our theme song, Cultivated, is by the artists John Bryant and Nigel Aslin.